Iso was the company that Iso Rivolta started back when Italy was getting back on its feet after the Second World War. The Italians needed some mobile transportation, and they had scooters, they had very small displacement trucks, and they were using the same engine, and they were very, very profitable. And then this guy was just a genius at predicting what was next for the market, and the Iso Isetta was manufactured, and that design was sold to BMW. And so that's what really gave him the cash flow to start dreaming about making a Gran Turismo for himself and the world. So that's really how the Iso Rivolta came to be. Back then, there was Maserati and Ferraris that were just two-frame chassis that were, wrapped in aluminum. The Iso Rivolta was the first monocoque car, essentially, that was stamped out of steel, welded, and then this chassis went to Bertone. Bertone put the body on top of the chassis, and then it came back to Iso. He would install the Corvette engine and transmission into the car. So Iso Rivolta knew that his largest market would be the US market. So Ferrari really didn't have a network. Maserati certainly didn't have a network of dealers back in the early 60s. And yet Chevy had a dealership in every small town across the US. So, the Ferraris, they were awesome cars. But the serviceability, if you were in the United States, one of the first things people would do when the Ferrari engine blew up is they put a Corvette engine in it. And if you're in, Moberly, Missouri, looking for a Ferrari dealership and you're broken down by the side of the road, good luck with that. So Renzo really thought his market was the United States, and the United States was really at the top of the world back then. Why not take an Italian, beautiful body, put a Corvette engine and transmission into it, and then anybody in the United States could service this car. I really love the concept of just this gorgeous Italian body with an American power plant that I could get in and service at any Chevy dealership, because I love to drive. It's part of my DNA to take something that no one else really sees the beauty of and showing the world that the original designers really, really were onto something.
When we started this project, could see that it was going to become more than just the everyday thing that we have done, on a regular basis. I think my greatest concern was that I wanted to make sure that what we in the shop put together and created for Richard was what he wanted.
I chose the LS7 because that is a modern Corvette engine. And then I started dreaming about, okay, now I want something that really gives me that emotion. When I walk up to the car, I want it to be like one of the prettiest cars I've ever seen. When I get behind the wheel, I want to make sure all the touch points and all my visual cues that I look out from the windshield are there. I wanted the armrest just right next to the steering wheel, so I didn't have a lot of motion. And the shifter is right next to the steering wheel. The Iso Rivolta wasn't really built as a SEMA car. Normally we build cars and we just take them to SEMA. We don't even enter it into the Battle of the Builders. Only about, 3 or 4 weeks out, the window closed on the Battle of the Builders, and 2 or 3 days before that, I called Lou. I said,
hey, I think we need to enter this thing in the Battle of the Builders. And to be quite honest with you, I didn't know anything about it.
I'm not sure what it is either, but I think this car should be looked at by other peers. And so we, entered it in not knowing what the hell to expect.
So the SEMA thing, the Battle of the Builders, became a reality. and finished the car, went down, and didn't know how the process worked. Dan had gone down with the car to begin with, and he was there for the first couple of days with the car, and you know, he calls up and he says, hey, he says, we went from 300 to the top 40. And I'm going, all right, top 40, okay.
And then we made the top 12, and then we made the final 4. And yeah, I think at the end of the night, we placed second to Ring Brothers without even trying to build a car for SEMA.
It had been real the whole time. Now it got real. And so it was pretty amazing. You know, I don't know what the look was on my face. I was pretty surprised, pleasantly surprised. It was pretty cool to experience that.
You can look at a piece of art on a wall, and it's only 2 dimensions. You know, you can look at a painting, even if it's the Mona Lisa, it's only in 2 dimensions. A car gives you that 3rd dimension, and then you add in the sound and the fury, and then you step out of the car and it's a 3-dimensional piece of art. And that's what Louie and I really worked really hard on, trying to solve. It wasn't easy, but I think we did it.